Thank you for listening to the Flying High Club podcast in association with the World Aviation Festival 2024 in Amsterdam. We've been delighted to be able to bring you this, and it wouldn't have been possible without our sponsors, Flyware. Flyware are experts in aviation and travel space, providing tech outsourcing services focused on increasing revenue and making your operations more efficient. Without their support, we wouldn't be able to bring you what we are bringing you today. And more importantly, what we need you to do is, if you want to find out more about Flyware, please check the caption below for more details. Thank you for subscribing and keep following us. Keep flying high. Hi everyone, we're back at the Flying High Club, World Aviation Festival, and actually we've got an old friend of the show who just turned up. The great thing with this stuff is when we're live, it's about making those connections and actually having a conversation. Not everything has to be scripted. So,
It's
Mo,
true.
welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me again, man.
How are you?
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I'm very
Can't
good.
get hold of you
Life
now,
has
yeah?
been-
We managed to grab you in one place for that podcast, and now, whenever I'm looking you up, was it Morocco last week, Amsterdam here? What,
Yeah.
how's life since we last spoke?
Alhamdulillah, bro. I'm very grateful, man. Life is interesting because if you had told me 5 years ago that I'd be doing what I do this today, like I would have laughed you out of the room. There's no way I would have believed it, and I can only be grateful for that. Like last week, as you mentioned, I was at a conference for IATA in Morocco, where I was giving a talk all about safety culture and about storytelling, about why stories are so important in building culture, specifically safety culture within organizations. This week we're here, so moderating a few panels here. We're working on some campaigns in the background, working on some pretty cool projects, things that I think can really revolutionize the talent space in this industry. So yeah, I'm excited, man. Excited. What about yourself? What's been happening with you?
Look, we've been here. This is going really well. We managed to get some really great guests.
I've seen it, yeah.
So like you said, I think, look, something like World Aviation Festival is really in that kind of startup mindset. I think it also inspires us. You remember, look, you see here, there are tech startups that have nothing to do with the industry, trying to find their way in.
Yes.
A bit like what we're trying to do here, right? We're
Yeah.
trying, actually, how do we build a space here? How do we get into that space? So I'm really glad to see some of the stuff that you've been doing. You know, I love the fact that we had a conversation about, you know, how do we get recruitment onto social media?
Yeah.
And I love what you've done with Donata, with British Airways.
Thank you very much.
Some really, really good stuff. And I wanna know what's coming next. You know, I know you can't maybe give away too much if some of it's in the pipeline, but you know, it feels like, mashallah, fingers in a lot of pies. How do you make sure you get some focus around that so you can actually, you know, rather than just the name getting out there, which absolutely is important, where is your head at now in terms of where does this go? Where is this going towards? Or is it just, again, letting it be organic and going with the flow?
So I think, you know, the journey so far has been very organic, but when you recognize a few things, you recognize, number one, where you're having the most impact, and number two, what the biggest problems are. And I think if you can marry up where the problems are and where the impact is, you can start to really crystallize solutions that can help, you know, just everything go further and catalyze a lot more of that. You know, for me personally, my focus is talent attraction. So when I look at the landscape of talent attraction, it's like, well, where is the talent and how do we get to them? So the touch points are a few. We can get to them when they're younger, so when they're actually like children. We're talking YouTube videos there that are designed specifically for a very young audience that would binge watch YouTube anyway, but rather than letting them watch this, that, and the other, you're creating stuff that a very young audience can create. And as well as the YouTube videos, how can we create physical books and things that are tangible they can flick through and read it and learn from, that can then just sit there on the shelf and be a part of that information they have access to. So that's something they're working on for a very young age. And then when you look further up as they get older, actually the way they consume information completely changes.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? How do they consume information? And how do we make sure we can present the aviation industry in a way that's going to constantly captivate them? Now you got them excited. Now they're like, oh, well, so how do I get a job here? Well, now the next step of that process is, well, what is the funnel that you've built that's going to actually get them that job?
Yeah.
And how are you going to be able to upskill them in that process? So what's the way in which we're going to teach them how to apply, how to get the job, how to understand themselves and have that understanding so they can apply themselves to a job description and be able to apply and get that job. So helping them through that, upskilling them through that, but also building a mechanism of capturing that content directly from social media is going to be a critical part of the journey. So those are the sort of 4 things so far. And the last thing that we do is we help organizations that are basically want to embrace social media we allow them to create their own internal team of superheroes.
Yeah.
So their own internal team of influencers who can become their brand ambassadors and show the world what it is that they do. So at every touch point, throughout that whole journey from when they were infancy all the way to they're actually already in an organization, how can we leverage our talent as an industry to create more and more talented people for that future and catalyze
And
that?
you said the ones that are interested. Do you feel like they're buying into this? Or is it feeling like, yeah, I understand, yeah, social media is important, isn't it? But, I'm not sure. Because like I said, you've had a few collabs which I think have worked really well. I hope that it shows the other companies, actually, why aren't we doing this?
Let's let the data talk. I don't want to talk about it. I'll let the data talk. If we look at the campaign with British Airways, for example, they had 16,000 applications. 48% of all those applications came from that one video of us showing what it is that you're going to be doing if you were to apply and if you were to get that job. When I was working at Heathrow Airport and I was creating videos about the behind the scenes there, 53% of all the apprentices who we'd hired over a 5-year period said it was those videos that were the reason they actually joined. So you're asking about committed.
Yeah.
These young people are literally deciding that they want to join a 4-year apprenticeship based upon TikTok videos. We live in a generation where people are willing to commit decisions from videos they see on TikTok, and we know that. They're buying tickets to go fly in different locations, they're choosing careers, they're choosing clothing, they're buying things.
I mean, look at us. We're out here finding places to eat. We're searching away, right?
Exactly.
And that's what it is. And based on that, we'll go and have a look. We'll share those. We'll have those experiences. So
exactly.
And we'll put our money where our mouth is as well. So
exactly.
It makes absolute sense.
Exactly. And they're doing that with careers as well.
Yeah.
So if that's what they're searching for careers, if we're not present on those platforms, then
You miss out.
we're not even on the menu. Can you blame them
Yeah.
for not choosing you if you're not on the menu?
Yeah.
Whose responsibility is it to put you on the menu? Theirs? No, it's yours.
Yeah.
That's the whole industry. That's a message to the whole industry.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Listen, I'm not going to keep you. I know you got to go. So I've got a couple of more things I want to ask. So
Go on.
Talk to me about 2 or 3 things you've learned since we last spoke with all these experiences that you're coming across. I'm trying to get you to reflect now because, like I said, you're moving very fast. It's always important, like you said, to take stock. I know you're very humble. You're very inward-looking as well. But talk to me about reflecting upon the last few months.
So one of the things that I reflect on is, I'm moving faster and faster and faster, and in that process of moving faster, you sometimes forget your priorities. And I think that's something I'm beginning to learn more and more, like family, spending time with family and the beauty of that. Faith, right? And making sure that that's always your number one priority. Your health, right? It can be so easy just to get busy and be busy.
So
But
difficult, man.
Those things are
I
critical.
haven't been able to go to the gym this week.
That's what I mean, same.
Literally
And
in the
this is
morning,
it.
one day they were like, these crazy getting up this early. And I was like, but haven't been able to.
Yeah. But, those things, for example, for me are things I'm learning and realizing, and I'm just like, I really need to make sure those things are, I'm being with it. The other thing is that I actually learned this about 2 days ago, and it's the power of mastery. Have you heard of mastery?
Yeah.
So what do you when I say mastery, how do you define that? Like, what does that mean to you?
I think I wouldn't say being good at what you're good at, if that makes sense. Everyone has, I would say, a specialist skill.
Yes.
It's about making sure, like you said, almost you don't want to be a master of none, which can sometimes happen, isn't it, with these things? Like I can do a bit of this, I can do a bit of that, but what are you actually? Where is your mastery lie?
And so I've learned recently that mastery is one of those things where if you live in sort of the energy of being the master of that topic and you really lean into it, then actually what happens is you show up different. You show up with a completely refreshed energy where it's like you don't question my ability to do these things because I don't question myself, and you don't allow any that doubt to creep in. You show up completely differently, and that's something I've learned recently.
It's an amazing concept you're talking about there, right? And we haven't got time for this stuff. We've got to get into this. We've got to get you back properly. But the point, exactly that, right? Too much of us, there is that fake it till you make it. I get that. You want to be in the room. You want to be part of it. All these sayings are great, but if you don't put the work in the background, and it's not even about being found out. It's about if I don't research the guests.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get through this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? They'll be like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Are they gonna call us back? Did they feel like it was that I took time? Did I take the interest? Did they, and me as well? Am I showing the right energy? Is that all coming across because I know what I'm talking about? You know, when we got a couple of guests on here, I was like, man, I didn't know about this person, and I'm like, I need to make sure. Now I could have, like you said, just turned up. Oh, so you're a CEO of this airline? Oh, you know, I've never heard of it.
What do you do?
So tell me what, you know.
Standard old questions.
And you know, like I said, it will look great. It will look great, but if you don't do that work, that connection's not there.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. And then also it's like about trusting yourself in that process. Like, no, I'm good at what I do. I'm going to do it well. And allowing that energy to flow. So where it really presented itself to me, I only learned this concept about 2-3 days ago. I went to an event in London all about public speaking, and the guy was on stage and he was saying, when you're on stage, you need to like show people that you're in your mastery. Like, you can't phase me. This is me. This is what I do. So I came here and I was moderating a panel. Now, I've never moderated a panel like this before.
Yeah.
I always do public speaking and I can do things on my own, but now I have, you know, CEOs that I have to manage a conversation with in front of a crowd. But what I did is I completely let go, and I just did it. I just did what felt natural, and it wasn't like normal panels. I was standing up at the front. I was like getting proud participation. Like the first question, I was introducing the panel. The first question I asked is, who in the room has heard of a guy called Simon Sinek? And everyone put their hand up, and I was like, well, what book did Simon Sinek write? And everyone was like, what is it? Start with why. I'm like, well, start with why is a concept that I quite like. So today on this panel, we're going to start with the same question. Why? Why would a company invest in its AI technology? So you see how I didn't make it feel like, oh, here I'm just trying to ask these people questions. I'm gonna let this flow in a way that's an experience.
And you know, I again, like you, I've moderated a lot of panels. I've been on panels. I actually prefer the moderation for that reason, right? I think you get to help manage the narrative. And it is your responsibility to make it engaging for the crowd.
Yeah.
And also the panel. How awkward have you seen sometimes where you have a conversation before and then they come on stage and they're like, oh yeah, one word answers, and you're like, this feels awkward for me, it's going to feel awkward for them. Or you're always trying to remind people, you're not talking to me, you're talking to this audience. Like, stop throwing out the jargon, stop throwing out things that people won't get, you know?
Exactly.
It's like, this is one issue we gotta fix, especially in these industries. But
100%.
No, and I love that. I'm gonna have to really think about that myself as well in terms of that mastery.
A question that I realized completely changes the dynamic of the conversation is whenever they say something, it's like, have you got like an example you can give me that can bring that to life for me? And that stumps them. They're like, oh, you want like a real life example? Like, yeah, tell me a story. And that's what I was doing on my panels. So like somebody would say, oh yeah, we believe that the sustainability of da-da-da-da is impacted by AI, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, so can you give me an example of like a time where that actually brought that to life? Like, and you saw the fruits of that labor? And they go, yeah, you know, back in February 2000 and this, you know, there was this person and they had this problem.
But look, public speaking is about storytelling. People need to remember that. And it's again, it's all about feeling, isn't it? How you make people feel. So did they feel like they took something away from that conversation?
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Oh, good, man. Okay,
absolutely,
look, I'm conscious of time. Good seeing you. I'm glad you stopped by.
Thank you so much.
Like I said, brother, keep going, keep
you.
pushing, keep flying high. And like, we're with you all the way. We're supporting you.
I can't wait to see where this goes, man.
Equally, man, we're looking to see where you're going to be next. And
me too.
You know, and hopefully wherever we can help in our small capacity, we're always here as well.
Honestly, the Flying High Club, I think you guys are doing something that hasn't been done in aviation before, especially to the quality and the level that you're doing it. I can't wait to see where this goes. This is only the beginning, and I'll be here the whole way.
Thank you
so much.